Alright, let's go ahead and get into this. Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man has premiered, and the first 2 episodes have dropped. And what do I think of it overall? It's the most alright Spider-Man show to start off with. Like, nothing really to really get too up in arms. I do have my complaints, but it is the most alright Spider-Man show I have seen out of all the animated Spider-Man shows. Now, am I still annoyed by the fact that he is in high school? Yes, I am still very much annoyed by that. I can't state that enough, that is so dumb. People can try to write it off as much as they can, but it is a dumb aspect, and it definitely seems like he's starting off in the first years of high school, so it's going to be like his freshman year, which, funny enough, that's exactly what this was supposed to be. It was a show about his origins, not origins of Spider-Man for the MCU. And from the get-go, this is the most alright Spider-Man series I've seen so far. Once again, it is the first 2 episodes. It looks like this will be done by the end of this month, which is kind of concerning because I'm kind of wondering, is everything okay? Especially since this is supposed to be getting like 2 extra seasons. Now, mind you, I want to be very clear about this, that usually with animation, their seasons are already completed. So there's probably was 24 episodes, which they split down to 14 for each season or something like that. So that's probably what's going on with this. But it does concern me because after watching these first 2 episodes, and this being another loose adaptation of the mythos and of the origins of the MCU Spider-Man, I kind of asked the question of, what is the point of this series? Because there really isn't a point of the series if you're going to tie events from the MCU into this and not be connected to the MCU, if that makes sense. Another issue I have with this, it seems like they're doing the same thing with Batman the Caped Crusader. Not as bad, mind you, where Batman is not even a forethought in the show, but it still seems like we're focusing on other characters more than we are focusing on Peter Parker. I get it, we've seen Peter Parker's story, we've seen what he is, but I want to understand what makes this Peter Parker different than other Peter Parkers. It's so far, there's nothing that makes him different. So they've made him actually too much, in my personal opinion, a goody two shoes, and they've not really followed the aspects of what makes Spider-Man Spider-Man, is that he is a mess up, that he is somebody that doesn't always get it right, that he is somebody that took advantage of using his powers in the wrong way, which led to a tragic event that let him follow a code of guidelines to become the man that he is today. For an example, we focus on Lonnie Lincoln for a little bit, which I don't mind. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but it's like, I understand what they're trying to do because this character would later become Tombstone. So they're trying to give us as much sympathy for this character, but I don't want sympathetic characters. I'm kind of getting tired of sympathetic characters. I don't care about sympathetic characters, and they're not giving me much of a reason to care. Okay, cool. He is a good student. He's a great guy. He's a football player, which it makes it even more tragic when he falls to the dark side. But it's like, I don't care about Lonnie Lincoln. I didn't come to watch a Lonnie Lincoln show. I came to watch Spider-Man. I came to watch Peter Parker, which leads me to another thing that's kind of been on my mind about this, is that it wants to be a cameo show. So we see Amadeus Cho, we see Lonnie Lincoln, we see a bunch of other characters that are in Marvel Comics, and I'm kind of getting tired of that. I've said, once again, I said this in my video about the Spider-Man show before the Spider-Man show came out. Spider-Man is not just cameo the show, the comic. Yes, he does interact with other characters in the Marvel's universe. I'm not saying he doesn't, but usually a lot of the times he's on his own. And I'm tired of shows, and I have to honestly kind of blame the prequels for this, Star Wars prequels for this, where everything has to tie together. Not everything has to tie together. Not everybody has to meet. Not everybody has to go up from the same origin story. It just kind of makes me kind of think back to Spectacular Spider-Man, and makes me kind of go, why didn't we just continue Spectacular Spider-Man? Because honestly, this is the same plot basis as Spectacular Spider-Man. You see Spider-Man and Peter Parker being friends with Eddie Brock, which later he becomes Venom. You see a bunch of these different characters and villains and heroes, knowing Peter before he's Spider-Man. You know, it's like, you don't need that much connection to the character. The animation, it still drags for me. I'm not a huge fan of it. I think it's all right, but it's still stuttery. It's still very not cohesive. It's very frustrating to watch some of the scenes, because a lot of the times you can even tell like this animation is not that great, because there's sometimes when you're seeing swinging and there's like nobody on the streets, and this is supposed to be Queens, okay? So you're supposed to believe that this is a lived-in city, and it looks like the least lived-in city you have ever seen, and it really drives me up the wall watching the swinging scenes or any other interactions that Spider-Man has with certain characters. Past the race swaps, again, they race swap Dr. Connors, which I don't understand why they did that as well. I don't understand why you would even want to do that. It seems like they keep doing these race swaps on purpose for whatever reason, and it's kind of annoying. It's getting to the point of frustration where I'm kind of asked, like, are you guys even doing this to be creative, or is this just because you think this is going to all of a sudden make, you know, one side of the spectrum happy? And it's not. I'm tired of it. Make original characters. Stop race swapping characters. Stop gender swapping characters, and let's get back into something better. And before people start yelling at me and saying, "Oh well, what about Nick Fury? Blah blah blah, and this and this." Look, we knew what they were doing with the Ultimates universe. The Ultimates universe was a completely different universe. You could tell that with all the characters that were in the Ultimates universe. So it would make sense with that kind of iteration. It doesn't make sense with this. It doesn't make sense, especially if the character is literally the same character. Only difference is one was a bioengineerist, and this one's they deals with energy science. Jesus Christ, energy. With energy, they deal with energy, okay? There are energy sciences, so that makes sense for that change, I guess. But everything else, it's basically the same thing, but they changed the race. I don't get it. It's stupid. It's dumb. Other than that, this series is, like I said, it's starting off all right. It's boring. If I'm gonna be 100% honest with you, it's nothing that's really like, oh man, this really makes me like, oh man, this changes everything for Spider-Man for me. It doesn't really do much for me. I know a lot of people are complaining about the diversity in Midtown, but I personally don't have a problem with that, especially since it is in a modern day of Queens, which from my understanding is very diverse and has a very diverse, eclectic group of people in Queens. So I can't really complain about that, but the whole trying to tie this to the MCU, but it's not really tied to the MCU, but it is tied to the MCU, is annoying me, because you can tell that this was supposed to be the prequel to the MCU movies, and if I remember correctly, that was the initial plan, and then they stopped that, and then now it's its own thing. Because I remember when this show was initially like announced back in like 2018, it was supposed to be initially the prequel to the MCU Spider-Man movies, and I don't know what happened. Things changed, and then whatever happened. But so far, the first 2 episodes are all right. They're nothing to write home about. There's nothing to really get me mad about. I think this same problem that I have had with Batman the Caped Crusader is that this is a series where it is focusing on the other characters, when, you know, the name of the show or the name of the series is Batman or Spider-Man, and it's doing the same thing here. I don't know. I thought the how he got his spider powers was interesting. I'm gonna see if that plays into something later, because especially the creature being almost symbiotic tells me that maybe they're gonna be in something in the future where it's gonna probably deal with the symbiote suit. Which, guys, come on, we've got more storylines besides the symbiote series that are out there. You can focus on something else. So as of right now, I see a lot of people on Rotten Tomatoes rate this like a 97. I disagree with that. IMDb has this at a 6.5 out of 10. I completely agree with that. Right now, I do not see this as a 97. This isn't something that is grand or good. Once again, it strips away his character of Uncle Ben. It tries to make him too good of a person, but the problem with that is that Spider-Man is not a perfect person. He's just a man that is just like you and I. Sometimes we make it lucky and sometimes we don't. And I think that they're focusing on the wrong things when it comes to his character as of right now. If there's anything else I missed, just let me know in the comments. But as of right now, this is where I feel the series is at. I really wanted to kind of get that out there and do this recording because I made a promise. I wanted to review the series of the Spider-Man show. I think this is, at this point, a mediocre show, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. I'm not going to blow up and because I'm like, oh my god, it has a race swapped Dr. Connors and the school's diverse. It means it's woke, and no, it's not. But I'm not also going to pretend like those things are a good thing, and I'm not going to also pretend like this is the most amazing Spider-Man show. It just changed my life, and it's just so good. No, it's not that either. It is still mediocre, and it just leaves me to ask the question, Disney, why didn't you just do a season 3 of Spectacular Spider-Man? Because I'd rather have seen that in continuation than what you guys are trying to do here, which right now it's kind of a muddled mess. Oh, before I forget, the rap music. Please stop with the rap music. The opening is such ass.